normal.
Hey guys, it's going on.
Everybody sits
I
down.
sit down to put myself down.
Hope this is on.
I don't want to fall.
Well, anyway, I slid on the pavement, on the floor.
And I do.
And slammed my spine into the
We're on.
frame and then went down on
Okay.
my coccyx and I'm sore.
Good evening, Litchfield. Welcome to March 27th, 2024 Economic Development Committee meeting. Would everybody, let's call the meeting to order. It's 6:36 right now. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We were okay with it.
All right. All right, next on the agenda is requests for additional items that you do not see on the
Still sore
agenda.
and I
Would
can't-
anybody like to add any additional items?
Do you have a copy of the agenda?
I don't have a hard copy. We have a copy of the agenda, or,
It's on,
gotcha.
on
There's
the-
only 3 items on it. There's
On the
approval of the
portal.
minutes. We're going to discuss the survey, and then a municipal series that you'll be giving at the library.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to add to that? Okay. All right, so we can do public input, earliest, we'll do it at 6:45. All right, why don't we go around the table and introduce ourselves for people who are watching for the first time, and why don't we start over here this week?
Marion Colby from the Heritage Commission.
Diane Plansky from the Conservation Commission.
Connie Jackson from Economic Development.
Kimberly Queenan, Selectmen's Rep.
Peter Plansky, School Board Rep.
Kim Kleiner, Town Administrator.
Peter Ames, Recreation Commission.
Great, welcome everybody, welcome back. It seems like it's been a while. So missing tonight, they may come in a bit, Laura Gandia from zoning, Jeremy Robitaille from planning, and Jay Mankara for NRPC. So, actually, I heard Nashua had some traffic issues the last day or two.
Yesterday
Are they
morning.
still going, was it railroad work being done somewhere? So he might be stuck in that.
No, that's
coming up
gone. They
from
finished it
Nashua.
yesterday.
It's all
It was
done.
all
They
done?
finished it
Okay,
yesterday.
well, then you mean.
Sorry.
He should be here.
She gave you grace.
Okay, but he goes to meetings all the time with us. I mean, he has worse than I used to have. All right, so first is, okay, well, we do have public input here, but I won't go any earlier than 6:45. All right, so let's get to business. The approval of the minutes for February 22nd, 2024. Has everyone had a chance to read them and found any issues with them? Oh, I hear somebody coming in now. Hi, Jeremy, welcome. We just started. And we're at the section of the minutes, and just seeing if anybody had any changes they wanted to make, or thought they looked okay. Sorry, I thought I shut it off. Oh, that's, let's see. Might be Jay. Let me just check. No, go ahead.
He can't make it tonight. He can't make it tonight.
Jay Mancaro?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very good. I wish him well. All right. All right, does anybody have any changes or recommendations? You want me to wait for you?
No,
to
go
get
ahead,
some
go
of
ahead,
it?
go ahead.
Did
I'll
you-
catch up.
Okay. All right, so let's see. Peter was here last time, Laura. Connie was here last time. Diane was here. Peter was here. Jeremy was here. Okay, so, let's see. So if anybody would like to make a motion to approve them, or if you want to hold, I'll entertain a motion
Make a motion.
Seconded.
to approve them. Okay, any discussion? Last chance? All right, all those in favor of approving the minutes for, let me get this right, February 22nd, 2024, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nay, no? Abstain? We have one abstain. Okay. We do have the minutes of being done, right? So they can get the motion, right? Do you want me to call the motion
Yeah.
out loud? Okay, so you can get the motion. Okay, great, thank you.
Max.
All right, so let's move on to the second item then, the discussion of the results for our first community outreach survey. Hot off the presses, I can't wait to see. So, do you mind, Kim, going over, because I was at the voting booth, but inside, but what went on at the table there? Can you explain? You all took turns at the table handing out the survey? And also town hall, it was at the town or wherever it was. Do you mind just letting the public know the process that went through for this?
Sure. So we had several connection points for the survey. Surveys were turned in here at Town Hall, the public library, the transfer station had them, and then the largest portion of them came from Election Day. And so there was a table at the polls, and various members of the committee did different shifts. I think we picked up 2 or 3 times during the course of the day to come back and enter them. So once if they were filled out in paper, then they had to be entered by staff. So thank you to Heather and Donna for doing the bulk of that work. If we did have a lot of surveys that came in, either from social media, they clicked on the link and submitted it themselves, or from the town website. All in all, there was 11,153.
11,000? 1,000 or 11?
1,000.
Okay, 11,000. That puts more residents in.
Everybody,
Live here.
Wow.
So you'll see it's on.
We got a member in NRPC, another one.
Yeah.
Over 10,000. Just joking. All right, so 1,153. Great response. Respondents, good. So it wasn't like we're looking at 35 and trying to guide a town, right? This is a pretty
It was
good size.
sample, and that's what I said to people as they came by. It was that this is going to matter. You're gonna see us talk about this at different times, and we really need a cross section. And I really felt like I got one.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we felt
Did
the
you?
same way.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, we really felt that, interestingly enough, the older people, so not the 20-year-olds, all wanted paper ones. They were willing to do it there. The younger people all wanted to take the QR codes and do it at home. That was the big thing. And so I thought that was an interesting and a very good idea that we had both options. Because some people came in late and they just wanted to vote. That was their key thing. Didn't want to take the time to do it. So I think we probably went through all the papers for the QR code. So I was hoping that people actually did it when they got home. But with those numbers, I think so.
Ran out of what do you call it?
The actual
Surveys.
No, not the surveys.
clipboard?
Out of the clipboards, and somebody went and got them for me because we had that many people stacked
Yeah.
up outside doing the surveys. It was fantastic. It was
Response
really
was
good. I
good.
feel much better about the information that came out
Yeah.
because of how many people answered it.
That's good news. Does anybody else want to share any experiences they had dealing with the survey?
Right, so we all took a shift-ish, right? So do we have the counts by shift? Because I did not do that well. I'm pretty sure Jeremy did much better than I did. So
I think you
Is
did
that
fine,
what you-
Peter. I think you did great.
you think so? Okay, right. Measure.
When I went over, and I think you had just come on to grab the first bunch, there was quite a few of them there. I mean, I will say, we had a resident, I was contacted by a resident who was concerned that the survey could be taken twice. We have to have faith in that people will take it once. That's the goal. And if it's taken multiple times, it can skew the data. We can tell what IP address it was submitted from, and so we kind of did.
You had a big influx at one point.
We did a big group look just to make sure that we didn't see 50 coming from the same IP address. And when we did see the 50, it was Heather or Donna's email because they were entering. Good. So, I mean, and that's really the best you can do.
So you're pretty
Any
comfortable then?
I am. I mean, I think that it was interesting that some of the data points changed substantially the last couple days
Yeah.
from what we saw as kind of a trend through the elections. And then it kind of flipped at the end. So a little bit. But, I mean,
But nothing to skew, maybe. So,
You were able to look at the IP addresses though and felt comfortable that
Yeah.
somebody wasn't sitting there doing it 100 times.
yeah, no,
Okay,
I didn't
good.
see that.
did you see a lot come in right at the end? No, like
We still
200?
have a couple days, don't we?
Did it with sunset? It's
They,
done, right?
it ended at Friday at 5.
Oh,
Did you see a lot at
So
the
if
end,
anyone
like
submitted
300
after
come
5
in?
o'clock on Friday, it's
I
not in
filled
our
mine out
data.
there.
It's not in our
I would
data.
hope so.
You didn't see it in the
It
hockey
is,
stick.
it's right
Did you see
there.
like 300 come in the last day, or?
No, I would say we saw probably 40
Not bad.
come in the last day, which, yeah.
So I just echo Connie's comment that it was great to have both. I did see young families that they had kids in tow. They did not want to
Right.
stop and do it, so the QR code was very helpful to a lot of folks. Others did take the clipboard. I was particularly pleased to see we had so many respondents from residents, you know, at one of our metrics. So I think that reflects well that we got a lot of town voices in this survey. So yes, it's imperfect, but I think, I mean, this is an astonishingly high, you know, rate of return. So I'm very pleased with that one.
When I was there with my husband, so Mike and I sat at the table and people would do clipboards, but I was amazed at how many people didn't know what we were about. Like, I was screaming it to getting people's attention to
I
it.
was too. A lot of people didn't know, but then there was a few that came through and said, I've already done it online.
There you
Or I
go.
did it somewhere else, did it at the library.
I actually lost my voice for 4 days afterwards. And it was like, I must have done a really good job.
Absolutely.
Get
Did you
down.
see people trying to get by that you knew? Because I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I see you.
Yeah.
Back here.
Well played.
One thing I will remember if we ever do this again is that we got a hand slap because people were taking the clipboard into the voting section to sit down to do it. And we kind of got a hand slapped on that because you can't take papers and other things into the election area. So if we ever do that again, we just got to remember to
It
remind
was
people
actually a
to stay out.
selectman telling them to do that when. I was
It
there.
probably was.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, so we had the same issue. So yes, the learning was to have some seats or some tables
Yeah.
outside in the
Yes,
hall.
yep,
The clipboards helped a lot.
they did.
And you're right, I mean, the people who had the little kids, some of them didn't want to do it, and I said, well, hey, guess what, I got a QR code, oh, yeah, I'll do it when I get home.
Yep.
That's where I was hoping that they were going to do it.
I was able to tell people it was important though, which,
Yeah.
that it was gonna be heard from, that your voice is gonna be counted here if you fill this out. So
I think it was the one-on-one,
Yes.
the fact that it was a real
agreed.
person talking to them, because some people didn't even know we had this committee.
Right,
So that whole process was a learning curve for the people in the town, whereas if you just had them stacked up there, I don't think we would have gotten anywhere near 1,000.
the only thing that may have swayed it is that everybody that was going in there, one way or the other, was worried about their taxes. So
was a
that
big
is a
one on
part
that.
of the population that was absolutely more money conscious maybe than some of the people that didn't
Yeah.
come to vote. So I don't know, but we'll take it what it is, and I felt like I had a good cross section.
Me too.
And it sounds like at least the 1,153 would be interested in the results, which is also good, right? And I haven't seen it. I can't wait to see statistics if people actually put their name down to, you know, at least keep observing it. All right, so why don't we just do this just because it's 6:45 for anybody in the public? I just want to get it off the agenda. Would like to come up and speak or any? Don't see anybody online. We don't do that really anymore, but all right, I will close public input at 6:49. So we opened it at 6:48 and closed it at 6:49. All right, so you're the one who has done the data analysis and all this information here and analytics, so
I wish
yeah, hopefully you can.
wish I could say I haven't looked at this. And again, I want to thank Heather Snaman. If
Absolutely.
people don't know who Heather is, she's our bookkeeper. And she jumped in. So this was a little complicated to put together because it was Google and we had multiple questions, multiple responses to the same question. So we had to pull that data apart. So thank you to John Brunel for assisting us with that.
Good.
So the first question, what are the reasons that attracted people to Litchfield? And so you can clearly, there's a convenient location to Litchfield, right? But more than that, people came here for the rural agricultural atmosphere. So they were drawn to Litchfield because of the atmosphere, but it was also convenient to wherever they were working. Some people came for to be closer to family. Some people came for the outdoor recreational opportunities. And interesting, one data point that I found interesting is 324 came here because they said it had available housing.
Yeah.
That would have been a big.
And I'm
number.
guessing that's a certain period of time.
Yeah.
So
2019.
Jeremy,
Because that
how
wouldn't-
many houses have we sold total in Litchfield over the last couple of years? Do you know that number?
I don't have the exact figure, but the thing I do know is when a house goes on market, it sells in a week or less. So the inventory never actually builds up at all.
Some of that would probably be
That's
dependent
everywhere.
on when people moved to town, how many years ago they moved to town. Like when Diane and I moved into town 25 years ago, the town was growing, right? There was a lot of building going on, there was a lot of open space, and that's how we ended up here. I think we went from like 6,000 to 8,000 people over like a 3 or 4 year period.
Yes, so I could see where that would be the data point from that particular period. I don't think that would be a large data point right now.
No, I would agree.
No, I agree. Yeah. I'm trying to get that number, how many were.
Certainly not 20% for housing affordability, because you can't, it's very expensive to move into Litchfield these days.
Right.
But they're doing
But it's the same way everywhere in New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really there's no easy silver bullet to get a cheap house. This doesn't exist right now. So
I should go to Pittsburgh.
I preface with in New Hampshire.
So
yeah. Well, not Canada. We're not going to Canada right now.
I was trying to get the answer.
we
to the
had
question.
discussed when we were putting together the survey whether or not we wanted to have a question on how long you've lived here.
Where's your
And
dog?
and this was kind
It's
of
just my
our
phone.
way of getting some key data without asking specifically that question.
Okay.
But it's interesting to note that out of the 1,153, 130 were born here.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
10%, 12%. And I like the graph too, so you can go with numbers and
Yeah,
graphs.
so we tried to give you the data, and then what percentage of the 1,153 that represents, and then just for people who wanted to quick eyeball, there's the graph.
That's good.
Other responses to that question, and we kind of just took the ones that stood out. Family-owned land was there more than once.
Okay.
Their church, they were moving into a 55-plus development, and so for a number of years, those were the big development that was done in town. Litchfield wasn't overly developed. It was safe. It had scenic views, has a sense of community, peaceful and friendly, was there multiple times. Quiet Town was there multiple times. The fact that they were raised here was multiple times. Small town, people kept saying small town many, many, many times. A few people liked the fact that there was the 1 acre requirement. Some people came because of their spouses. They liked the country feel, but being close to services or able to commute to Boston. A beautiful home on the river, their dream house. It's a beautiful town, the land size, and the fact that they could have a larger property. So we tried to, out of each, we tried to give you a flavor of if they actually wrote something down. We feel that's important for you to take. And then the next question was, what are the most important issues that should be addressed in the town of Litchfield over the next 5 years? And so again, this is really interesting. Protect drinking water supply was number 1 there.
Really?
Well, just just
Sorry,
behind
just
tax
under.
increases. Yeah.
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 I'm cut. So control tax increases was number 1, but
Yeah.
And that's why they.
And I thought protecting drinking water, that was not what I expected.
I'm surprised with that one.
All the controversy with everything over by the river and
Yeah.
St. Cobain, that's,
Late for
it-
that.
I think it's,
It's
it's.
Stay
higher
fresh in the mind now.
It's a
Yes,
higher
it's a
number than
little
I
late
would've
for
thought,
that.
but
Horses
it's,
out of the barn on that one.
Yes, right. The horse is way out of the barn and down the street and around the
But
corner.
NRPC, the 12 towns around us, clean water, made NRPC change their strategy for that to be one of the items as well. So we were hit by POFAs, but the other towns, obviously, who don't have a problem with water, are still saying we want clean water.
Well, the more
Around the
testing they
wells.
do, the more contamination they're finding
Yep.
in Londonderry now and all the way down to the south part of town, whereas originally it was only to the library. And
Right.
so
It's creeping.
it seems like the more they test, the more they're finding.
Yeah, I mean, there is clean water.
Right.
That's not the issue.
Yep.
Affordable water is the issue.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because everybody used to have, well water, it was free,
Right.
so you had to pay for
So
your
that-
pump, and that was all.
And that is
Now I
the
have a
issue. And now
bill
there's
every month, yeah.
a number of things coming down the pike that are gonna influence that. So, and we go from there to preserve agricultural land, preserve open space. And right up there with all of them was attract new business.
It doesn't make sense.
Well, I think it does, because
We
people
want
want to
this
keep their
and this.
taxes low.
Well, yeah, and then you said you're gonna do I saw the email about municipal for the library, and a lot of people don't understand how that works.
How many choices do we have for that question again? Was that 3 or 5?
That was 5.
That was 5.
5, okay.
And the school
That would be
facilities.
interesting
was
to see how many people wanted agriculture and open spaces and wanted new business.
Well, so what we found was they were saying almost everybody, control tax increases, preserve open space.
Yeah, about,
Okay.
Okay.
But also in school is number 5, right? For the top 5,
And
right?
I was gonna say somewhere the selectmen have a magic ball.
Oh, they're not.
'Cause I don't
Open
have one,
spaces. School is 6.
But it gives you a really good idea of what's important, and if you trace it back to the first question of why people came here,
Right, it lines up pretty well.
it lines up, so.
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And then this is just a fast look, so that you can tell. And again, some other responses on what's most important. We leave the homeowners in 55-plus communities. So this is one that we've heard, the fact that they don't have the cost of the road maintenance and the street lighting and the police. They think they don't have police patrol, but they do. I mean, but the roads aren't maintained by the town, and the fact that their street lighting is included in their cost of their development and all that, but they pay the same taxes, right? So you hear that quite frequently as find ways to generate tax base without draining citizens' wallets, young and old, I thought was an interesting one. Grocery store, gas station, increased industrial, commercial, and residential, but they thought there should be a yearly cap, and it should follow some kind of aesthetic rule.
I definitely think that that's a great point.
Yeah, we already have some zoning rules for aesthetics too, so that's partially taken care of already.
Yeah, I think we need some more,
We do.
yeah.
They're pretty good.
One that keeps coming up over and over and over again, and we've heard it a lot, is keep the real estate taxes affordable for those on a fixed income. Prevent land from being sold off to developers building townhouses.
Sort of
Town-
specific.
Town should cap all new housing to single-family homeowners with minimum 2 acres.
Like that.
Support, attract young families. Trash pickup.
Those last two in order is pretty funny though, I will say.
Okay, trash pickup and keep taxes low is another interesting conversation. Preserving water quality again. looking at town sewer, they did look at town sewer a few years back, and we can dig that study up. Historic preservation, natural gas, don't make more rules.
I like that one.
I
Connie,
didn't write that,
is that you?
but I could have.
I will never say.
We almost had natural gas, right, a few years ago with that pipeline? That was gonna run right along the river?
No,
Yeah.
that didn't even promise us.
It went across the
Okay.
river. Didn't it go across? Didn't that go up and across? Yeah.
It was to give, the Budweiser plant.
Yeah.
For vegetation.
So, there's very few rules that are made at the local level. Rules are made at the state level. We are not a home rule state, and we must abide by them. Improve education at Campbell, that was a new one, I hadn't heard that.
I've heard it.
Ambulance, again, ambulance and keep taxes low would be an interesting conversation.
Really.
And a dog park, I hadn't heard that there was a need for a dog park.
You know what, didn't somebody try to do a dog park?
Yeah,
Some years
dog
back.
parks are really dicey, though. If you look at the towns that
Lot-
have them
lot
and
of
the amount of
liability there.
problems that they have in them. Nashua has one of the nicest ones that
We have two.
actually does a DNA poop test on your dogs before they come in. So that if they find poop, they can do a sample, and if it's your dog, you get fined. And they also charge a fee to go into it. But I've seen really bad stuff happen at dog parks.
Yeah.
It's not,
I just thought with all the open space that we have,
Yes, so dogs are welcome on rec property,
Yeah.
as well as conservation,
Yeah.
right? So,
I would
we've
think.
got some open spaces.
As long as you clean up, though. There are signs saying, clean
Yeah.
up your messes.
And the bags
for sure.
are there, we put the bags along the bike.
we do. And now we have a garbage can at Moore's Falls, which is the biggest dog walking area. And we also have them, that I think the high school kids do along the bike path.
I
But,
think the one about don't make more rules, I had discussions with people who were concerned over the fact about, the events and stuff like that. That's what they didn't like. It wasn't so much state laws or, federal laws and stuff like that. It was more narrowing it down and like, okay, now we can't even do an event without having to get a permit 45 days before, all this kind of stuff. That's
on
what people,
town land,
but that's what was people's minds. Because I don't
Having
think they
one
have all
on
the
town
facts
land.
either.
Yeah, it's messaging. We gotta
I
work
mean,
on
it's
that.
like.
yeah,
the
I think
world
there's
is-
mixed messaging there because I know that, Selectman Queenan received a question and it was their own personal land. We have
Yeah.
nothing to do with the land that a private homeowner owns.
Right.
It has
That's all
nothing to
their
do with
liability and
us.
everything else.
Yeah.
Town's off the hook
Somebody
on those
who's
ones.
gonna do a
This is-
craft there, right?
This is town land that we have you all, I don't even have a liability for it, but you all have a liability for any legal action that should occur.
But I think the problem is, this is a world that people see taglines. They see short little blurbs and stuff, and they don't spend the time to actually look and say, oh, this is a town event. This is not talking about what I want to do at my own house. So I
Right.
think it's an educational thing, and it will take a little time because I heard there was quite a lot of input at the meetings about those kind of events and parades and things like that. So I think that people just need to have more time to digest it and get information out there.
There was a good response as far as the town to the people that were concerned. And there was a committee and there was meetings and
And it came forward, Monday night, and they've scheduled a public hearing for April 8th.
Good.
they
Same
accepted it.
night
as
before you
a-
have your public hearing.
They accepted it for how it was put across. I missed that.
I think there was a change, really? I don't think it was.
Yeah, I mean, not to say the selectmen could hear something from the public hearing
Right,
and
but-
they could make a change
So
then.
far, what came out of committee, they were comfortable with.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
we
I,
have to change
they,
anything.
I think a few of them had still reading to do to it,
Okay.
but, so that was
Nothing clear.
interesting,
But that was good involvement with everybody coming in to help.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
it was
Georgia, but help
both.
make the policy,
There
right?
was, there was listening and there was input, so.
And there was compromise.
Yep,
Yep.
and the search committee came out of it. or
Yeah.
something.
Down one more.
All
Okay.
right, this is question 3.
Would you like to see new businesses in Litchfield?
That's all woman.
Overwhelming.
Oh, that's a big number.
Big number. 82% yes.
Okay.
So we were looking at
They like
this.
businesses, but they don't really want to have to see them. They want them on,
There's
We'll hide
Are we
them.
saying online business only? Just
Hide
online
them.
business?
yeah, somebody else, next door to somebody else, you know?
Not in my backyard.
Yeah,
Someone with
yeah,
an
yeah.
Amazon
Back
store.
there, right?
You know that
Yeah.
movie that had the
Um,
Amazon
Oh, that's right.
The interesting part is when you look at a question like this, and then you look at the question about economic development in general, right? And so, I think there's a disconnect on what economic development is. I don't think everyone quite understands what that means. Your corner store is economic development. Your barber shop is economic development. I mean, so it's interesting. But it's overwhelming. One person left it blank, so. But they took the time to write in, and I think that they wanted to qualify what they were saying yes to.
I think that's where the next question comes in,
Yeah.
more than anything, is to find out what kind of businesses are they talking about.
So if that was the question that said, if no, why? Here are your whys. We already have what we need. Okay, as long as they don't disrupt the character. It depends if there's some land can be spared. And if it would offset taxes, bring the farms back, depends on the business type. So these people said no, and this was the reason they were saying no, because they didn't feel comfortable to say yes.
Well, and also some of these are people that may have said yes, but also are qualifying their yeses, saying as long as it doesn't disrupt the character.
Yes, but they wrote it on that no line.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, so, I mean, and there were some of those that checked yes, and then right below it said, if no, why, and they wrote in there
Okay.
anyways, and we took that and
Yeah, yeah.
and captured it
Yeah.
here. They're worried about strip malls. They want to keep the small town vibe. And they want to keep open space, and they're worried about traffic. All,
Good reason.
yeah, all very valid points.
The keyword vibe, I like that.
Me too.
Oh, farmer's market, 53%.
What
we're
type of
brewery.
businesses?
Oh, why does that say 5?
Why do we?
Yeah,
It should say 9.
farmer's market was definitely, and
A pub.
a farmer's market, so the policy that we were creating on farmer's markets at the selectmen level, I'm not sure that would cover private land or even commercial space. It would cover town land if we wanted to do something on town land. But there is some pushback, and that is still being kind of reviewed. So I'm not sure what we quite do with the farmer's market. I think they're great. I think you could have one every day of the week, and
Nashwa's is
it would be
huge.
packed, yeah.
Yeah.
But, would you get someone that would have it and take on that liability on their
I
personal
think you'd end
land?
up at Dara or out here. One of those two places. That'd be yours.
Yep, we could.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
that would be a perfect spot.
That would be.
Tough to do that on the weekend, right? Dara gets a heck of a lot of use on the weekends,
Softball season.
especially
Yeah,
in the
like
summertime.
right now, it's, talent is packed during the
Winter.
bud season, yeah,
Yeah.
winter. So, and then, but it opens up in the summer when crops are in, so.
But there's a chorus here.
Looking for heavy traffic.
Right. They
No,
want
they're looking for, you know,
character of the
small,
town, yeah.
they'll go to small businesses and offices and small individual shops, you know, but, I think it's
just
clear.
It just doesn't surprise me though, because that's
Doesn't,
kind
yeah.
of what we hear when people
Right.
like, we wish we had another restaurant, or we wish we had a pub, or.
I mean, I was a little surprised about the coffee shop, but.
No, that was in our master plan. That came up.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting one when the gas
Community
station goes
Master
in.
plan, that was a big one.
mean-
Gas station
Because
isn't
the
wanted
social-
though,
For the
so.
social,
Yeah,
you
that's
were
not
there,
great.
you helped make that master plan. Do
Yeah.
I mean,
you remember that? Marion was there, she was part of the master plan for the planning board, for community design.
Yeah.
Right.
But for just social, to get out and meet, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody's in their home and really no place to connect here.
Right.
Well, that's
The
what
old church
Shorty's
is
used to
trying
be.
do that,
Shorty's
too.
used to be
Library's
there?
trying to
Shorty's,
do it.
Shorty's was that.
The
Diane?
original Shorty's, that was the
a social
place.
place?
Oh, it was.
Is that the
It
wrong
was-
kind of liquid?
It was in and out of, it was after baseball game.
It was. It was the place
kids
that
were
everybody
like-
would go to.
Would just like turn around
Yeah.
the,
Packed.
what was, yeah, the
That's-
dance floor type of situation,
Yeah,
but
it
the kids
was.
would all play together, and there'd be tables of just people, everybody knew each other, and, yeah.
that's how my father would get my brothers and I to buy into the fact that we were coming over to the farm stands, is if we went on the family Sunday ride through Litchfield into the farm stands, we got to go to Shorty's after.
Yeah.
That was such a great place,
It was.
yeah.
And there hasn't really been anything else in town that offered that same atmosphere. And if that's what they're looking for, is a coffee shop, a small restaurant, you know, this kind of thing, that's what they want.
Social.
So I think this date is all very helpful.
Oh,
Um,
me too.
Very,
But manufacturing is like 13%? Where's
I just
manufacturing? It was
confirmed.
here. I just remember
Yeah,
seeing.
12.
Oh, in the middle of the page, manufacturing? 12.5%. Not that we don't want it here, but it's just what they want more of, right?
but the likelihood of being able to get manufacturing here
Depends what it
is
is.
slim to none without a sewer.
Anyway.
Yeah.
You just can't, you just can't.
So all the things they chose are to keep that rural atmosphere in the town.
Right.
All of it.
And it's an aging town, too. That's another reason they wanted the coffee shop, to keep their social circles going.
So, I mean, you can clearly see, looking real quick at the chart, it sticks right out.
Yep. Top five
Who
for
we are.
food and
What
drink.
the residents want. There were some other responses: liquor store, post office, senior center, a town square,
Okay.
painting bar, bowling, crafting, woodworking, B2C businesses?
Business to customer.
Yeah.
Like retail.
Oh. That's a new one for me. Automotive,
Be-
arts,
Business to
Business direct to
customer.
customer stuff, just like a retail place, retail stuff.
Oh,
building and mechanical trades, and firewood processing yard facility.
That's actually a really good idea.
So,
We do have farms that do that.
those were some interesting responses. What is your connection to the town of Litchfield? 98% of the people that took it live here.
Nice.
So,
almost not.
there's probably some of the people that live here are also in the 37 that own a business here.
Yeah.
Just from the numbers. And 9 said they only visit here, and 84 work here. Found, that's, some good numbers.
That's all the continental in place.
Small tube. Small
All
tube.
tube.
Yeah.
School.
Um,
Yeah, teachers.
here's an interesting, would you be interested in serving on a focus group? It's pretty clear.
Honestly, I am shocked by that.
And
number.
that one blank again.
Really?
I thought it was pretty good. 167 said they want to be in a focus group.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a focus group of 167, that's really
huge.
good.
I mean, like
That's-
15
yeah.
people at most.
Absolutely.
Right, right, so there's the optimist right there in the corner.
Yeah.
Glass is half full, you know.
Absolutely, for sure.
But now compare this to the next one.
Contact information.
They want to be, 347 want to be informed. So they want us to keep them informed. They might not want to sit on the focus group, but they want information.
That makes sense too.
I got
That was a
jobs.
So The strange part was there were 524 that left that totally blank.
It's the last question, they're out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I had people that would realize when there was the second side to it, they're like, oh, I'm not done.
And of the 347, only 331 actually provided an email address. So there's a few in there that may be looking for us to send them something, and if they don't get it, please call us or
That was
send
the
us an
comment
email.
that I got, was that there's a lot that goes on in the town. People they don't know where to get follow-up.
Right.
Because they used to say, well, we had like the Hudson Litchfield News, which would do a couple of little things on things that the town was talking about. And so I said, they wanted to know, if we put our email down, will somebody email them the results of this thing? And I wasn't sure how to answer that, because I wasn't sure how that was gonna work. But I said, you can always contact the Economic Development Group, and we'll get you the information once it's been
This will be posted, won't it?
well done.
Yes.
So we
We can post it, and I thought we'd send it
Yeah.
by email to
Yeah, if
those
we're gonna post, we can
people
definitely email it to them.
Yeah.
No problem.
that actually took the time to give us their email addresses.
Can I post a link to WhatsApp?
Yeah, well, just take it from the town page and
Okay.
and post it over. I'll John post it
You had
probably.
331 that left email addresses?
Yes.
Okay, that's a substantial number of people
It
who
is.
want to be informed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, a really good sign.
That's
And-
about as many people as we thought were gonna actually take the survey.
Yeah,
I couldn't be more impressed.
So,
I'm thrilled.
and I discussed this with Selectman Queenan earlier. So the number I didn't. No, I intentionally left the first question off. Because, and I'm gonna tell you what it is, and I can add it to the survey.
What are you talking about, the first question?
The agree, strongly agree.
That's good,
Oh,
I only had
oh,
7
yeah.
questions here, and I'm like, didn't we have 8? Okay, good.
Right.
Alright.
Because if you go back to this, this is 82%.
Which question, hold on, let me catch up to that.
It's the number 3, I
Senior
believe.
businesses.
Alright, hold on, I'm going there.
The
Okay, so I wanna write
first
notes.
question is coming in at 67% want economic
Strongly
development.
agree.
No, agree and strongly agree combined.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
But there's also almost 200 not sure, so that can go either way. So it almost lines up.
Are you gonna show us now?
Would you like to see
Oh,
the
it's-
businesses in Litchfield?
It's on the spreadsheet, right?
Yes.
Can they see that at all?
Probably they want most people working
What
from home
spreadsheet?
remotely.
Are you,
There was a,
They don't have a computer at all over there. Did you print this at all? The Excel
Yeah,
sheet
it's
for
like,
it?
page 7.
back to the portal.
They don't
if
have,
you
they don't have
go-
computers over there at all.
Oh, they don't, no, I did not print that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not, that's a lot of data to
Can you show
print.
that up
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
I can.
The Excel sheet that
Oh,
we're talking about now.
Okay.
They agree, strongly agree.
So, what I did was, and I'm not gonna put all the data up on the portal or the, it's in the portal for you folks to see.
Right.
I'm not going to post that to the website because there's just so much data there, and that's really our notes for putting together this presentation.
So I'm confused.
How I-
The only
Well,
thing that
I'll
you
go
and-
there,
I'm
and
confused.
you
The only thing
won't.
you and I talked about was how many people took the survey. I haven't seen these details before. I just
No,
want the- I
no.
just want the public to
The
know that. I'm
first
seeing them now.
one, the first,
So the first question we didn't see about, that's the one you're calling up now, right?
The actual first question
Yeah.
is not in your packet here.
Yep.
So you're gonna see that right now.
Because I gave them
So
seven
much
first questions, and
Yeah.
I knew there were 8, so I wasn't crazy.
I'm gonna-
Okay.
so in,
Strongly agree.
So you're saying
I
there might be
emailed that to you.
So that can go either way.
So you're saying
It's
there's
an
a
idea. Just
disconnect?
I emailed
Kind of
it
disconnects between that and the.
here.
Yeah.
So in your inbox, you should find this spreadsheet.
Glasses.
And this spreadsheet says,
Can you magnify that a little bit?
can I?
Do 120%, 150%?
Don't know if I can.
All right, let me go to my,
I can if I open it this way. It's just gonna take a couple.
that looks like a nice flag. I get.
There,
There you go. Can you guys read that?
if you can't see that, I'll, blow it up.
See it?
So, 30,
Touchscreen?
381, I don't know, if I
81,
can
did
blow
what?
it up from there.
Strongly agreed, 33%.
What was the
33%
question again?
strongly agree.
Strongly agree to what?
Are you in favor of economic development?
I'll
in general?
throw it in the present, in the first part,
They want
in the presentation.
economic development.
304
What
agreed.
was the first question we had here?
So that
Our first
probably
one was
equals that.
Why are you
80
attracted?
are you
No, I
with
don't
me, right?
care.
That's
I
that's
care, but it doesn't relate to this.
67%
Right.
agree or strongly agree.
Oh,
This is the one, number 3.
So Kim's trying to make the point between this number 1 here that you see on the board and number 3 in our packets.
right,
Not
The
match.
numbers don't actually line up exactly.
no.
So you're
Actually-
saying,
They don't line up at all.
Well,
No, no,
if you
much
include the
farther
not sure,
They're not-
either way,
they're
you're
not
very
82%.
close. 85, that's not too far off. It's only 50%, 30% off.
So, yeah, it's 856
Well,
compared
maybe
to.
as they went through it, they became more sure of the,
Mm-hmm.
although it was only the third question.
My point is, I think the word economic development is throwing people off.
I had to define that quite a few times at the bowls. So,
So, someone came to me and said, we really wish before you did the survey that the town had done some education. And we talked about it at the Board of Selectmen, when the Board of Selectmen were even putting together this committee. They said, yes, there should be some education, we should do some education. So I think we should put this question out there again on one of the future surveys and actually have some explanation to it.
So you're gonna do it at the library, the,
No, at the library, so the library, I'm talking about the town budget. That's the first night,
okay.
is the town budget, how we work through the town budget, the warrant articles, how those impact the tax cap, talking about the tax cap, and things like that. The sources of revenues we have, and then the second night, I'm talking about assessments and property assessments, what your property assessment means,
Is that gonna
the
be,
revaluation that's coming up next year, and what a tax base is.
Will they be broadcast?
Yes, John's gonna broadcast them, and I'm only doing an hour at a time, cause
Too much to
yeah,
take in.
it's too much information to.
because what really stood out to me, and I circled it, but I forgot to mention it, the important issues that should be addressed in town. Improve town facilities, 9.63%. People are unaware of how jammed that police department is in that area.
Yeah, so the police department has some real challenges and more challenges every day. And I don't know.
4th meeting on SIP. But the second meeting, definitely, we could have a link to her meeting, right? So people can look at it. They see their
Really,
current
infra-
house
we have
tax assessment.
Infrastructure issues that are gonna come back
Oh,
and
we
bite
got a
us
lot.
in the butt that we haven't. The school's done an amazing job of getting the information out that they want. And maybe we need to take a page, not a lot of pages, but maybe a page from their book in getting the information out about the infrastructure changes that we know the town is gonna need coming forward.
Well, we did. It's not like we didn't.
Did you do a mailing on it, though?
No, because we don't have a number.
You don't have the money either.
No, we don't have a number.
Yeah.
We don't have a number as to what the new police department would cost us. There was a number that was prepared 3 or 4 years ago. With the changes in construction costs, I wouldn't take a number from 3 or 4 years ago
No,
and
but,
put
but
my.
what they did do is, as they were working up to that, is the school had a lot of information out there, a lot of videos, a lot of that kind of stuff before any numbers were out there, just why the need was there. There was a lot of information
Well, so Mike French and I met with the construction company that did the original estimates, back for former Chief Sergeant. And they agreed, and I agreed, it's a firm that I'm very comfortable with, that, number one, I'm not even sure the needs assessment was still holding true. So if your needs assessment, which is the very first piece of it, isn't right, the rest of it is pretty worthless. So it is being looked at now for SIP this year.
Did you want to speak, Peter?
Yeah, just a interpretation as I'm looking at these results here, because I think it's a fair point that economic development is not necessarily the same as new business, right? New business is about commercial. Economic development is broader than that, for sure. However, when we look at these and we're trying to reconcile the difference here, it's interesting as I look at this that when there was a binary question, the folks that went to, they did not want development or new businesses was pretty close, 14% to 17%. However, there was a substantial increase in the affirmative of new business, right? So that indicates to me that those unsure kind of fell to the new business,
Yeah.
growth
Agreed.
option. So
So it's new and I'm
that's,
sure.
yeah, just
Interesting.
something to
That
think
math,
about.
I did that math, it doesn't work out either, it comes out a different number.
It's not exact, but it's getting
no,
much
it's not
closer.
exact. It's, but if they fell to one column or the other in the binary,
Right.
they largely went
Right.
to the growth column.
That's what I interpret too. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I mean,
But you bring up a good point. They need the big picture. There's a lot of impacts coming into this, right?
Yeah,
So
there
first
are.
is why our taxes are what they are. Lecture 1, right? Or whatever you're doing, the
But I
assessment.
also think
And what's
because
coming, right?
all of the information that got out there, 44% of the people know that GMS needs work.
Yeah, it was a high number. It was like
It's
5 or 6 on the list, yeah.
44.93%, but that's all the legwork that they did up until this, that everybody has heard some information about GMS.
but I think that is part of number one, because most people don't know that there is a capital improvement process in this town. So for us to put out any type of information before we've gone to the
Yeah.
capital improvement wouldn't be fair,
No.
to the town, elected officials who are meant to oversee it.
Do you suspect that next year we're gonna see, like, the police department's proposals?
No, so we had $30,000 that we were approved to take from impact fees for the study, the
Okay.
actual development of a package. And
Okay.
so I think we'll have that, but I'm not sure that we'll be ready to put a warrant article. I know we won't, because we won't make the bonding deadline.
One of the things that I heard from people, because I know we're not supposed to have talked about the warrant articles that were at the election. That was a no-no. But people were very interested in a lot of people came for a particular item on the warrant articles. I think that's why we had such a great turnout. And you're right, I mean, the school did a fantastic job in promoting what they wanted. I give them all the credit for that. I don't think people are aware of other things in this town because they're kept silent. Unless you deal with the police department, you probably don't have an idea that they need help. Town hall, probably you don't know other things. But I think one of the biggest problems is that I told people, I said, you can watch the selectmen meetings, you can watch the zoning, you can watch the planning, you can watch the school board. And they go, I don't have time. And I think all that information is accessible, but people don't take it. They don't take the advantage of it. So I asked one person, said, so when did you hear about, like, what our town needs for money in the warrant articles? The deliberative sessions. And there was only like maybe 100, 150 people at those sessions.
It was 60.
60?
I was sitting out there counting. I was bored. Plus, give or take,
Wasn't many.
So that's a very small
Not
number
people.
of people, but they got informed at the deliberative and they got informed at the school. So a proposal that I'm gonna throw out, that possibly when you get to the point where you wanna do some sort of a master plan as to what the next structures are gonna have to be taken care of, the infrastructure in this town, maybe a session similar to a deliberative session. Even if you tackle 100 people, those people talk to other people. And that's what happened with particularly the school. People went out there and said, you know, oh, there's more information that needs to be provided to people. So it was word of mouth, word of mouth, word of mouth. And that goes a long ways. We don't have any central newspaper or area that can get that information out
To be
people
fair,
free.
Kim's worked
So-
hard on the town page.
Yeah.
We will have a much better system with the new website. People will be able to sign up for specific
That's-
newsletters and things that we will be putting out there. So it will be delivered right to
Yeah.
their email
You have done a
addresses.
great job. I'm not
I
cutting
do
what you're doing.
think that you're right though, because I've been here through 2 SIP processes now. They hold a public hearing on all the projects on the SIP and never have I seen an individual come in.
So getting the SIP promoted would be a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just promoting what's in it.
I mean, I think there's a big disconnect
Yeah.
from people seeing their tax bill and people equating that to what goes on in all of these meetings. I
Right,
mean, I try to watch a lot of the meetings and I understand, you know, if you have children or if you're, you know, you both work or whatever, it's a lot of time to put in. I mean, I watched the last school board meeting and it was 3.5 hours and that was just the public session. And I thought, well, you know, that's why people aren't interested in serving on these different boards and things too, because they see what a time commitment it is.
Yeah.
There's so many people that don't ever tune into any of it and have no idea what any of the processes are. And, I mean, there are people that don't know that this is the only meeting room. I mean, they
Right.
just think, oh, at town hall, and they must have room at town hall for this, that, and the other thing. They don't have any idea what you go through just scheduling all the different, you know, commissions and boards and things. So I don't know how to get that information out to people, but they just expect that, you know, the town is gonna take care of everything, so.
right, and I think it's difficult. I mean, not that a resident would know this, because unless you're involved in the actual finance of the town, the tax rate that you see on the deliberative or on the warrant that we send out, or even on the thing we send to your house.
Voter.
Thank you, voter guide.
Voter-
Thank you.
yeah.
That's an estimate.
Yeah.
It's a long time before we set the tax rate. It gets set in October if everything else is in line, if all the stars are aligned. And a lot of things affect that. The revenues that we have received up to like the end of September, we've got to look at that and realize if we're going to come in line. And so it's all an estimate. And there are years that we have to adjust our revenues or adjust some other line items well within state law, and it causes the tax rate to go up a couple cents or down a couple cents. Or, you know, last year it went down 4 cents, which was great.
That's still so crazy
But-
that you're that close, though. I mean, really, when you think of everything that's involved, to be
Yeah.
that close is crazy.
You do it enough years in a row, you have enough data, you can hopefully get it fairly close, besides massive inflation.
Well,
and
that we
things change.
couldn't, because, I mean, that was just a matter of, we went years and years and years with no interest to speak of, right? I mean, nothing.
Negligible. Exactly.
And then all of a sudden, it went through the roof.
Yep.
And it's a good thing, we're not complaining, I mean, but, so it's a lot, and it's a lot for people to get a grasp on, and who would? I mean,
There's
Well, I
summary
never knew that a
information.
warrant article, once we passed it, like there was a warrant article that went through for a certain amount, and then when it came in millions of dollars over, I didn't realize that we were still on the hook for that. I thought we were only on the hook for what we voted the warrant article in for. So that was like a big eye-opening thing for me. It's like you really need to decide whether or not you really need that project and how much it could be, because it could be a lot more. So you better really want it.
It's the same with the bonds. I'm not sure if people understand that. What you see for the first number on a bond is for that 1 year. If you're doing a 20-year bond, those numbers change. And then people kind of forget about it after a while. It's like with the LMS school. I think people forget about the renovations and the solar panels. That those are still, it's still a process there. I don't think people think that far ahead. They say, okay, I see this, it's 4 cents or whatever it may be. Okay, that's cool, but maybe we have previous ones that are still carrying on.
And we're still paying those.
Yeah, and you're right, I don't think people understand that whole big picture.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you
It's
get it out of that.
confusing, and I'm pretty involved with all the different stuff that's going on. I still find out new stuff all the time, and
But we can link to summary information, we can link to the town budget, we can link to the SIP spreadsheet. At least it's something to start, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I
It's-
think your
the school's
accounting
not there, but-
softwares that the town uses with these especially the school board, the accounting services that they use don't give you enough information about when you are up to budget, over budget, under budget on different line items. And it doesn't, I mean, I used to, as a business manager, I would get every month a business report that would tell me exactly how much capital projects were, how much, expenses were, revenues, and where we were on a bottom line basis. And that just doesn't seem to be done by the software that's out there. I don't know about the town side.
I would agree. I mean, we send out reports weekly to, and then monthly, different reports, more extensive reports to the budget committee and to the selectmen. But even those, so fund accounting is kind of a whole different animal. And you have a lot of what we call due to, due froms. And so at any point in time, you could have spent some money in the fire department, but it's going to be offset by money in an expendable trust, but that money hasn't moved yet, so it could appear you're over budget here, but you're not. There's a
There's a
due
transfer
from.
coming.
Right. So, it's confusing, and unless people know,
I don't know why they can't.
they
come up
don't
with
see those due to and due froms and know where it's coming from.
I think, Diane, it has to do with the way the state requires you, that they report stuff. Certainly it does for the school, because we do get a
Because it's
report.
bottom line, everything. And
But they
and
still have
that's
to
hard
account for dollars from this category to this. So we do get a report that shows what was transferred from A to B. And anything over $5,000 has to be approved prior for the school.
Okay.
Each school is
It's a
different,
lot of
though.
work, right? Sometimes you to put a number in that spreadsheet takes 40 hours of research, right?
Right.
It's not just
Well, that is-
The
software
school and
rolling it
the
up.
town do not use the same accounting software. The school has some very different rules than the town does. And then it's different by municipality, because we have different rules, like, when I was on the school board in Nashua, we didn't approve anything under 10. So, but it's a bigger budget.
Bigger project, yeah.
Right, so it is, and the selectmen normally, on the town side, you would never transfer from one line item to another line item in the operating budget. That's a no-no. You can't do that. You can go from an expendable trust to the operating budget. But not from fire department to police department. You cannot do that.
Peter?
Yeah, so we're getting into.
Yeah, the weeds.
Yeah, bring us
So,
back.
a little segue, because it's, the next piece is about municipal finances, which is kind of where the conversation's going.
Yeah,
So I just
so-
want to hear about what the
So
opportunity is
there's
to
the-
learn about that, because it sounds like it's timely.
Yeah, there's, so they've put it out. Vicky's been great. I mean, thank you, Vicky. Just fantastic. We had discussed this.
What is that?
This is the municipal finance. There's a flyer out here, and I think she's done it at the library, and John's put it on CTV, so, I hope people come because I want the questions. I fully get it if you want to sit at home and watch it on CTV, but they had, Vicky we were talking about the fact that the library, Vicky, who's a resident, got up and increased the budget. And well needed, very well needed. And what happens to that? And so we said, these are things that people don't know. So she, as a resident, gets up and increases the budget. It increases the budget, the town budget. And so the selectmen have to vote to actually give it to the library as the governing body, which should they will.
Right. But you had 3 lectures lined up, maybe a sip now. What were
So
three
the first one's the town budget, that process. The second one is assessments and the tax base, what the tax base is, how it affects. And in there, we'll talk about credits and exemptions, because definitely a need there. And then the last session is the tax calculation.
What are those dates again?
In case you haven't seen this, guys, if you're watching this right now, the first series is going to be on 4/18 at 6:30 at the library. Kim's second session is on 4/23 at 6:30 at the library, and the third one's on 4:30 at 6:30 at the library.
Is that on the portal? It is? I didn't see it there. Did it just go? Okay, might have gone up late. All right.
Now, Kim, you're just talking about the actuality of right now, right? There's no scenarios being run on this at all, right? You're just going through what the budget is now, how it's derived. That's it, correct? Okay.
Yeah. So I think, I was asked today or yesterday. I had made a comment, was it the selectmen?
About what?
About, yes, it was. So we ran, scenario 1, 2, and 3, just to get an idea of the tax base. Is that what you're?
That's what we're going to next, as far
Yeah.
as, can we now run scenarios to show different economic changes in
Right.
town or infrastructure changes in town, how that would affect us?
Yeah,
That's a
and
good question.
That's,
and so the resident that came to me said that they heard that if we had another facility, the size of Small Tubes, it would only impact $400,000 house, $100 on their taxes. And I said, well, be careful, because it was a commercial unit with the assessment of a Small Tubes, right?
Right.
If you put in an operation of that size now, it's probably not gonna have that assessment, right? It's gonna cost a lot more money to build that today. So it's going to in fact affect the tax base more. So, but yes, I took the assessment of Small Tubes and I factored in what that would do to the residential tax base, and we can do that.
Yeah.
We can do is,
We even have some newer ones that we have 2 that have been. was
Yeah,
it
like
Ken?
LKQ, right?
Yeah. That should be easy to.
How long is
Well,
that?
I think we should possibly do something that lines up what we have for results here. Like, say we had a small, aesthetically pleasing strip mall put in with a coffee shop and this and that, and see how that could possibly impact us based on the results we have here. Because that's what people want to see how it would affect us in a positive or negative manner tax-wise. That's kind of where I was going with the whole thing.
We have.
Yeah.
Do we have a new strip mall going in across from Mills? Is that what's happening
No.
there?
No.
What's it gonna be?
Those are dual-use commercial residential units going on over there.
Okay.
mixed use,
Yeah.
yeah,
Use.
mixed
House
use.
What
in
does
the
that
front,
mean exactly?
business
Yeah.
in the back.
What's in the back?
Like a housing plus businesses in the back, separate buildings. So you can
Two
live,
buildings,
you can
one
live,
lot.
yeah, one lot. So you can live in the house and maybe run a business out of the other building.
So what type of businesses are you talking about?
It looked like an electrical contractor.
The current one right now
Okay.
is an electrical
Alright.
contractor.
Yeah.
All right, I got you, not like a coffee shop, yeah.
No. This is, it's not for,
Public.
business to client use at all. It's business to business and just shop operations.
What's that land now? Is that industrial? Or is that?
That's split commercial or residential, I believe, isn't it? Right there?
mixed
That's
use.
zoning?
It's an overlay.
That's mixed
But
use.
what-
overlay,
Yeah,
But what is it, industrial or commercial up there?
it's just commercial.
Is
Commercial.
that kind of commercial? Okay.
It's right across from Mel's, so it's
Yeah.
gotta be.
Okay, so
Yeah.
commercial.
So this goes in line with what people were asking, like what we are going to do with this information that we've obtained. And if you had a high number for, we'll say the small strip mall, how is that going to affect the taxes? It's all boiling down to that bottom line of the taxes.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
You know, a coffee shop, is that really gonna affect my taxes or is it not? What's it
Correct.
do for the town? And I think some people told me that what they were interested in was not to have anything that was going to play into adding more to our schools and our infrastructure. They were looking to get something in return coming in that would help the tax base, but not require a lot of services. I mean, they understand fire and police, but they were looking for the other options.
Right, but we have to have both, we have to balance it, right? So we
Yeah.
have to have infrastructure, because say we have all these new condos being built, right? They gotta bring more children, which is more school weight, so you have to have more schools or updates of schools, whatever it is. Now you can offset that with possible commercial stuff. So we have to do our best to do scenarios that make sense for what we're gonna have and what people want, and show the reality. So right now is only a snapshot in time for right here, right now. So all of Kim's things she's gonna do is gonna show you right here, right now, that's it. Not next year,
Yeah.
not the year after. She can't show that right now in reality. So all we can do is run a scenario to show, if you do this, this could be the result based on years of research, and running towns. So I think that's our next way to go here and see what makes sense for us to go ahead and do this, to come back to the townspeople now and say, okay, this is what you wanted, this is what it might cost you going forward, if we try to promote these actions in town and try to develop certain things or not.
I think that's what people are looking for.
Exactly.
The scenarios.
And
The
I think that's
scenarios.
another estimate that people, that can throw off the tax rate substantially. Is because when we are figuring that tax rate that gets put on the warrant, we are also estimating what growth we see as of April 1st. And when I came, I looked at the building permits that we had out and the assessment growth that Mr. Brown had been determining a couple years earlier, and said, there's no way you're gonna hit that. So, the finance director and I made a decision to substantially lower that, and thank goodness we did, because we came in even lower
Right.
than what we had estimated because of some changes to utilities. That's a big factor.
Right.
So, and Litchfield got hit with some pretty, high drop in utility values. Everybody did, not just Litchfield. Everybody did. It was,
And what does that do to us, though? That's what I mean, I know you say stuff, and I go, okay, well, what does that mean to me? You know, what
and
does
you
that-
pay more.
how much? For utilities, do I pay more?
No, you pay more in your taxes because their assessments went down and they're paying a lesser percent of the tax.
But we still have to meet the budget that we
Industry
need
is
to
paying
do.
less?
Right.
So when they set the budget,
House
it has to be
bills
met
are-
regardless. So when the utilities now are able to pay less,
Yep, he's going to, yep, go
I'm
ahead.
getting confused.
So
Sorry.
here- all the dialogue, I feel like as we're mapping out kind of next steps, I'm kind of feeling there's a coalescing of kind of the next pieces here. So I think we learned from this that like development, yes, but it's got to be the right type of development that honors the kind of culture of the town, improves the tax base, right? And that we can look at some of the scenario planning about what that could be, right? I think we've got a little sense of the types of businesses that potentially people want. Would that improve the tax rate? I don't know, right? That could be one of the next steps of, would those businesses, accomplish some of the aims that we're hearing here. So I think, I'm feeling like I don't know, like, certainly the answers, right? But I feel like our next steps as far as, here are some scenarios that we could bring back to the town for some further analysis. But let me just kind of get some affirmation or correction here, like those things as far as I'm mapping out, like, yes, development, the right type of development, tax rate is an important piece to impact, but it's gotta be done the right way.
And where?
And, yeah, certainly like the
Where?
location and, yeah,
Because
growth, like
you only have so
specific.
much land.
Right, yeah. But as was mentioned, the scenario planning, like, that's what I'm feeling is like the next step here, is like some analysis about, put out what the options would be and what the impact would be.
So you're gonna,
Get to.
you're gonna pick the top 5 they wanted first, that's a scenario, doesn't look like it's big money coming in, but then the small tube scenario, right? So you
Yeah,
went on
so-
to the next agenda item, so.
Sorry, yeah, so.
That's okay.
This is where I'm missing Jay, because I think he would kind of help guide some of these pieces.
yeah.
Might be worth bringing back
No,
to
no,
him
it's good.
for some of those suggestions too.
But what they
'cause-
wanted was like the food and the, you know, so that's a number, right? What they
Right,
wanted.
yes.
And then you have the small tube scenario. We love small tube, by the way.
Yeah, it's a great,
That's
it's a great,
potential
business. It's a
small
great business to have
Strip
in
mall,
town.
not a strip mall, but you can make a strip mall look like it blends in, right? Like Amherst does, right? If they have the coffee shop, whatever.
do.
Does, Amherst
And
does.
maybe, I'm not saying dental, but some kind of professional offices and stuff, right?
I think before we started to put those in, I think we would want to run some scenarios.
Oh, yeah.
Pictures by people.
But this is what they wanted, right?
'cause I know
We
that
have a lot of pictures online. If you actually go to some of the town pages for our regulations, we have town development stuff on there. We can kind of see sample images of what we
Yeah.
have already kind of approved as a style.
Was that the
going forward.
housing chapter, or
It
was
was
that,
that.
it was either housing or the one that we had worked on, the community
I think it was maybe
design?
community one.
Was it community design?
Community
That
design,
had
I think it
The
was.
pictures of, at the time,
type
we
of
had another
buildings,
committee
right.
going of what houses you wanted, what businesses you wanted.
Right.
And we had public input on that, and we also had a public hearing on that. I think you read the chapters, wasn't that one of our
We did.
homework assignments?
It was.
Before you came here, everyone had homework. We read,
Yeah.
we
Did you
read
even give
that.
me any pictures?
Visual person, right?
They're in there.
There's a
I'm
couple-
visual learner.
There's not tons of photos, but it gives you general descriptions of the style that they want to see.
Yeah.
So, kind of the New England home kind of thing, not just giant boxy buildings, all that kind of stuff, you know?
So I just want to be careful on, yeah, we're gonna run the scenarios and see good things and maybe not. But we don't want to just say, this scenario works best for money, go for that. You know, we don't want to have the solution we pick, just be number driven, obviously, right?
No, but it-
Right,
Kids,
no.
we
But the
don't
same
wanna find
way-
a solution to, you know,
the same
answer
way she does the budget though, she takes into account future growth, we have to put that into the scenarios also.
Yeah,
'Cause
but
that's
we
the
just did
actuality
that.
of it.
Right,
Just
because
did
next
that, with
April's
the
gonna look
census.
much different.
The census
I
data
don't
is already
think
in there.
people do realize that that's why the number for economic development was unsure and because they don't realize what it impacts.
Right.
And then
It's too
when you
generic a
have
term.
when you have a revaluation, it impacts it totally differently.
And there is big questions coming up on that, it's coming up, revaluation. Everyone says,
2025.
oh, my house went up so much money, I know my tax bill's gonna be hit, it may or may not.
May
And
or
that's
may
why
not.
you need to explain that, right?
It's all shifts.
And it's interesting, if people that I was talking to were more interested in getting businesses as opposed to increasing the number of houses in town.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm looking at this thing, increase housing variety, 3%. Housing availability, 5%. Those aren't really high numbers.
No.
So people aren't really looking to get more developments and more condos and all that stuff. They're looking to figure out something that's not going to increase the infrastructure.
I think that's what
Across the
happened when people started to see that being built, and then people are seeing
Yeah.
building going on over across from 7-Eleven, and there's a lot of people that are seeing building and going, oh, our little town.
Because it's so much in such a small space.
So they're not looking at it saying,
It's a
okay,
lot of
it's going to
units.
increase the property taxes.
Right.
To decrease our taxes, it's going to cause more on the infrastructure.
Correct.
And that's where I think people are like, maybe that's not where we want to go.
Yeah, and to Diane's point, so, you know, when you're trying to calculate a number for next year, for 2025, that we're trying to capture, you've got some pretty big projects, right? And so you're gonna raise that assessment level, which you think is gonna give you more room under the cap. But what you don't know is what the increases to services are.
Right.
That's an unknown.
Exactly.
You don't,
Which I think is why we stopped the over 55 communities, not realizing that they were nothing but revenue and very little cost to our infrastructure. We stopped those, and I know we talked about whether or not that was even like legal that we stop.
What was the reasoning for stopping that?
Because it was thought that the over 55s were gonna tap the infrastructure. That it was swinging the population to needing more ambulatory services, more police services, and those kind of things.
I wonder if
And I'm
there's-
not sure that we
I wonder if
really,
it did change much.
it didn't, because 55's a much younger number.
Yeah.
A lot of those people that started out at 55 in those communities are aging in them, and are now freaking out with the.
But they're also,
With the
those houses are
taxes.
not like Section 8 housing, it's
Right.
$450,000. So I'm just gonna hazard a guess that those people have insurance and supplemental insurance, so an ambulance bill is going to be covered by their insurance.
But I don't think we knew
And,
that.
and they're not gonna have students in school, so one student in school is going to cost more than every ambulance ride from any
Exactly.
of the 55-plus in an entire year.
I didn't know why.
They're-
it was
And I don't
They're
think it's
beautiful.
legal, I
They're
think it's
beautiful.
ageist that we do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
The
that
fire
we should
chief
be
came
able to
in
do that.
and he said the number, it didn't really affect the numbers, the 55 and older.
I have two of them on my road, and I rarely see a fire truck coming down. I've seen an ambulance once in a great while. They've gone to more houses
Values are
around my
cut down
area with
because
little
they
kids
have-
than they have to the 55s, but another story. Okay.
Yes.
So that's gonna be our next step. That's number crunching though. That's big, right?
Yes, so
I don't know if this is well,
this
we
series,
meet
so
monthly,
I
but-
am on vacation, the 9th through the 16th. So, and then I come back and
Right into the
do
fire.
this, and
You'll be putting out flyers. I mean, I don't know if it's realistic.
She's gonna be on her computer while she's in Florida.
on the beach.
But what are the short-term goals versus, that's a big long-term
Yeah.
goal, right? Before we're trying to play with the scenarios and putting numbers in and out of something, right? Well, what's a good short-term realistic goal?
Why don't we work on
I think
scenarios?
having a
can.
focus group.
Well, yeah, you're doing these lectures, right?
I think having
That-
a focus group to kind of dive down on these numbers of, you know, what type of businesses would Litchfield seek to attract? Why? Why are people, like, we have 167 people who are saying they're willing to be part of a focus group. Why don't we draw out of them why? Why did they pick these? Like, what are they thinking? Where are they thinking? There was one,
And who are they?
But we don't know, we don't know who they are. It was anonymous, right?
Well, no,
They could
people
be
put-
no people.
No, a
They
lot
could
of
be,
people
you
put
don't
their-
know who
Well,
they
the
are.
331 that put their name on it either
Yeah.
want to just be updated or
No, but some of them
interact.
wanted to be in the focus.
But they
group.
might have not have picked the selected ones that were on the list, is what I'm saying. We don't know. We can keep track.
right, we don't know that which one of these they picked, but, I mean, the numbers
Be
are
a place
pretty
to
high
start
that-
with people, though.
I
So
have
you know
seen
at
that
least they're
happen before, the
interested.
focus groups
Right.
where focus on community center, focus on whatever, you know what I mean? Focus on library, whatever.
With your-
So they come in, the subgroups start going, yeah.
So what do we want to accomplish in the focus group? Because we have information as to what kind of small businesses they're looking at. We have that. So is it location? Where they
That
want to
would
see
be
it in
one
town?
part of it. Where do they see the need? Where do they think these places, could go?
So we would need to have the information for zoning to go to that focus group and say, okay, here's the map.
It's there.
Highlight.
Right in front of us.
This section, this section.
Well, you have a new map,
But-
right?
We haven't updated version.
That's a little,
Hasn't changed much.
Yeah.
I have a huge map in, my office that, you know, that we designed exactly for focus groups.
So that would be the
Um,
information they'd have to get out so that they could actually visualize.
so that's the
Yes.
where, who, what, when, where, why. The where
I think
is
there's
the
2 of them
location,
there.
right?
Yeah.
The potential location, not that you can't, it's a big thing, but not that you can't change zoning, right?
Correct.
You can't,
Right.
we might say that's a little big there, make that more, you know, commercial and make it more residential, you know, kind of thing. Pushing the home occupancy stuff too,
Mhm.
you know, and working in the homes is, if you have one employee or whatever. All right, so that's the where part, the location, that's a good place to start. Especially the coffee shop, manufacturing, you know, where they want the mall, where they think it would be.
Because we have the information as to what they're looking for.
Yeah, so I don't know if we want to bring that in, because that's just already telling them what's restricted. I mean, it is true, it's restricted, so maybe we need to, they might need to know it's restricted so we can see if we want to change things. But
Yeah.
not we, the public.
You're public.
I'm public?
Yep.
You're
You
public.
get a vote.
I get a vote.
We'd also dive deeper into the farmer's market thing. That was a big thing on this, and see what people actually wanted this and how that aligns with what the selectmen are kind of getting behind. You know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
It's a
'cause it-
social thing, though.
If you can tease that out, that might be something, a short-term
Mhm.
tangible item that we can knock out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the selectmen have not brought back, it's still tabled, because I kind of don't know where to go with it, right?
I had a woman come into conservation, not even last year, the year before, and I reached out to her 4 times, and she did, that she was very interested in running it. But she disappeared, which was sad, but, it was when we went to the one in New Boston, I mean, there was like a guy that was like on a guitar, playing music,
Yeah.
kids were playing, they had, they also had another time when they had like, animals come in that the kids could touch and all that kind of stuff. And during the whole farmers market, so it kind of brought people in to shop too.
We go to the Salem one every Sunday, and it's exactly like that.
It's phenomenal. And Nashua is amazing. I mean, people just walk right up and down Main Street.
And you got 54% of the people in a farmer's market.
Correct.
I think that's an absolute great starting
I
point.
don't know how much that's gonna make money for the
Right, how much
the
money,
town.
that's what I'm thinking, how much money is that bringing for the town?
It depends how you do it, guys.
It's-
Not
It-
much.
Not
Yeah,
much.
it
So if
doesn't.
if we had other businesses that they could then, the farmer's market brings them in, then they can buy or shop or eat at other places.
Correct.
That helps the businesses
Right.
sustain.
If I could get
Farmers market.
McQuestion to bring in like a
How do
big,
you tax the farmer's
you know,
market?
what do you call it?
Sure.
Flowers.
How do we
and-
Depends how you-
Tax a farmer's market.
You don't tax the farmer's market.
You pay
Depends how you do
So
it.
they-
If you did a commercial building that's
Pay to
run
rent
by a
the spot.
company, they would then be taxed with that land.
Yeah.
If it was a recreation thing or some other town thing, it'd be a different story. So that's why we gotta figure out how we wanna do this.
Yeah. so it's-
Generally, it's a nonprofit if it's on.
Right.
Right, so
Town
it's
property.
economic
Yeah.
development for the farmers and the retailer,
Right.
not necessarily for the town.
Correct.
So it's got a different
Correct.
purpose in that regard.
Right.
It's still valuable in its own way.
Correct.
But yeah, like you said.
So
it's
like the
listening.
one
Right.
in Nashua is run by a nonprofit called Great American Downtown. Great American Downtown does, they collect money from the vendors for the spaces. They use that money to help the economic development downtown. They put up the banners on the lights, they, notice certain events, they have the chocolate tasting thing and they hold a lot of events that bring people downtown.
Right.
So it's everyone working together in tangent.
So do we take the 131 and reach out to them? Do you have the list somewhere on a spreadsheet?
I do.
So would that help if one of us did a blanket email out, or do we can also post something that we have meetings and people can come to the meeting, right? The
I'd
next
have all those
meeting?
emails come from the town, not from
Yeah.
us directly.
No,
Yes.
okay, so but I don't want to keep taxing. We can
Just
say it's our
write
committee.
your email,
Right.
send it to me,
You want us to write?
what you're
we
gonna
can tell them
say,
write the
and
email,
I'm
right?
gonna go in and send it
She'll
from
distribute
the
it.
Economic Development Committee.
Okay.
Right.
Not me, not,
No, I
Yeah.
figured it would come from economic development. All
Yeah.
right, so that's that, and then that's the emails, but we can also tell the public about the next meeting in somewhere on those. on
Do we
the
want to set a
Facebook.
time or a date for that focus group?
Well, are we ready for them yet? Really to come in? Do they want to do that as a workshop during the next meeting? During our
I
next
think
meeting?
that's a good idea. Maybe take the top 3 or 4 and talk about where they could be and what they want to do.
and getting Laura in on that.
Yeah.
If you give Laura a call, cause, I mean, Laura has the zoning.
How long has she been
Pat.
doing that? How long has Laura been on zoning?
Years,
Long
I
time.
think. Years and years, I think.
Yeah. She has.
Since she was 12. No.
Okay,
That was just last week.
so that's good, so we'll,
so
we're
you get an
gonna
email
talk
out?
off, well, I don't want to do things in the non-public format, so.
I'll solicit, I know 4 groups that run farmers markets, so I'll solicit and find out what they do for the towns, how that works.
My husband Win helped write that, he knows it in and out too, so
Yeah.
please reach out. Again, I don't want to do things outside the meeting, but is it all right if 2 of us or 3 people meet and write this letter? Is that okay?
Yeah,
Because it's
send
gonna
it
go to you
over.
anyway, and then
If
it's
she'll
gonna
review
go.
it, then we'll go out.
Because you're
Not
not
a-
supposed to
not
do
a
meetings outside a
quorum,
meeting,
not a
right?
quorum of
So I'm
the
trying to be
committee.
careful of.
Not a quorum, so
All right, so it's
How
it's
many
an
of us are
activity
there?
out there. All right,
There's a bunch.
okay. So we'll talk after and figure
Three
out
or less,
who's
three or
gonna make a
less.
draft.
8,
Yep.
9, yeah, 3 or
All right,
less.
so when is our next meeting? I just wanna see when it is, because that's going
Oh,
in the letter.
sorry, I should have put it on there. Is that one? It is
So the last, what, Wednesday of the month?
Last one of the month, yep.
April 26th. That right?
Are you on vacation then?
That's vacation.
I mean, April
Vacation
24th.
week.
That's vacation week, gives me a problem.
April 24th.
Oh, is that vacation week for
Oh,
everyone?
school vacation week.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. So we're gonna lose
That's a
some.
bad one.
That doesn't
Yeah.
matter for me anymore.
May, we're already into
So we can
May,
either do it beforehand or after.
but there's so many meetings that people are on different committees, we have to be careful, right?
Or, I mean, you could always, in lieu of a full committee meeting, have your focus group meeting.
But it's vacation week for the
Oh,
kids.
yeah.
That's why it's a bad week.
Focus group won't be here.
Yeah.
Focus
We
group will
won't
be at
be, yeah,
Disney.
I'm just joking.
There you go.
Leave those parents alone. They have their hands full.
What's May? Is it, we running into Memorial Day?
Well, can we
Sounds
push
good
to
to
May
May
first?
29th,
Yeah.
which is after Memorial Day.
So we could have
Wednesday?
2 in May.
May first is a Wednesday. Then
The school board meets that, will meet that first Wednesday of the
will?
month,
Okay.
yeah. And I don't know if the other room
If
is
you
open.
just litchfieldnh.gov and look at the calendar, you'll see. It's-
Yeah.
You get that, Kim?
So if we do May 29th, then what do we, in our next meeting, what we can do to help? You know, we're gonna have to come up with an agenda for
Well,
that.
by May 29th, Kim might have some scenarios done. by
Oh, no,
then.
she'll be done, but I'm saying if we meet April 26th, you know, we still
May
can keep
29th
moving
this
the
year?
ball.
Oh.
I mean, you have the meeting on, no, April 24th is
Oh, the
the,
24th, I'm sorry.
24th.
yeah.
Okay. Well,
So,
it gives us a chance to also personally
look at
deep
this.
dive into this too, right? And see if we
so
see
then we
any.
have to figure out what
24th.
April 24th, we're,
I don't think there'll be a school board meeting that night, right? Because they meet the first and the third.
Let's take a look at the calendar here. It should be on the calendar already, right?
stay away from it.
Right, so
much as we
that may
can.
be that may be the fourth Wednesday of the month.
Let's see what
The
we got.
24th
So nobody
is-
will be here.
But no one will be in town either.
Oh, right.
So-
Okay.
So do we,
Valid.
what are we gonna do that meeting?
I don't know.
The workshop should probably be in May.
Yeah, I think it,
Early, you
Yeah.
know.
more turnout.
Can we do it May 8th? Because the school board is not meeting that night, right? They're the first and third, so.
Board of Selectmen.
Board of Selectmen?
No,
That's
Wednesday.
April, that's April,
May
hold
8th
on,
is
May
the
8th, sorry.
Wednesday, school facilities and nothing after that. So
Okay, you're trying May 8th?
after 5:30, the.
May 8th.
So May 8th.
So you want this to be May 8th
Well,
for the,
we're
for
talking
the
about having a.
focus group?
So we can do our next meeting for focus groups on May 8th,
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
don't,
and then do our regular meeting on the 29th of May.
All right, so you're saying get rid of April 24th.
Yep. Replace that with May 8th.
Where are we gonna have the focus group?
I like that. I'm for that.
See if the room is available. There's nothing,
Kim says it's good.
Then
we
it
have
was-
to, we have to just
Yes,
make sure
May
it's
8th.
available.
May 8th is good.
There doesn't seem to be a
What,
clash.
you just gotta, after, I would say, I would go, you know, definitely after 5:36.
Right.
So
Because
delete the 24th of April.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yep.
have that canceled, yep.
cancel.
April vacation for us. We're good.
So we had 160 something people interested in the focus group?
Potentially
Potential.
131 or something. right?
How are we gonna fit 100
167,
people
wasn't
if they
it?
all
They're
show up?
not gonna all.
If we get 10% to show up, that'll probably be a great thing for us.
Yeah,
You good?
If we have 100 people here, that'd be great.
Get like 10,
Are we gonna
you'll
have
get
any
like, maybe you'll
RSVPs?
get 10 or 15.
I would do an RSVP if you can, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
Oh,
good
yeah, you
idea.
need an
Yeah.
RSVP, because you'd have to ask the school if we could use the auditorium.
okay, you
Right.
guys are writing it, just send it to me, and
RSVP.
I'm sending exactly what you write.
RSVP for a May 8th meeting.
May 8th
Location
focus
TBD.
what time?
Oh, 6:30? What are you thinking?
Make it the
But we would also
6:30.
have to ask the school, I mean, if we're gonna get 100 people or 50 people.
We're not getting 50.
No, if we get 50 people, we'd
I
still
don't
wanna
know,
use
I
the
didn't think we were gonna get
auditorium.
1,100 on the survey either.
Right, true.
Well, that was all timing.
You don't think the community room at the fire station?
station
I think
holds
you
a lot
get
of people.
30, or,
Yeah,
Fire
fire
station
station,
room.
town hall, the schools, there's plenty of space for it.
Fire station.
Just find a
Because
spot to
cable
go.
can go in there easily, right?
yeah,
We
the
can sit there.
auditorium's hard for cable.
Oh, that's right, it is, it's all on the back soundboard.
It's a lot
many
of
do you think we
work.
could-
Do we need a focus group to be on camera?
30.
Yeah.
if more than
What's the
the
permit on
quorum
the
is,
wall
I
say?
Yeah.
think 3 is a quorum if the
We just
board
have
is
3 of
not.
us
how many
there.
We're there, yeah.
How many,
Maybe
what's
we
the
move
permit
it
on the
to the
wall on the
first
fire
30.
station? You know how they say how many can be?
99?
Not the fire station itself, but that
think we'll
room,
get
isn't there on the
10
wall, how many people can, was that a COVID number back in the day? It should have an occupancy.
Yeah,
There's probably-
it does. It has to have an
But there's probably
occupancy.
30 seats in there,
Yeah.
There's 3 rows,
of 8 or 10.
10, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You know, I'll check with the fire department.
you can fit 30, I think you can
I
fit
could
30
stand
people.
up, I would do it, but.
Just pull the fire engines out and do it.
5 of 6, yeah, there's gotta
We need
be.
to think of a backup plan in
Right,
case.
it's gotta be 30 people in there.
Oh, wait a minute,
Stitches?
but not on a Wednesday night.
Why?
You can't have fire on, the community room on a Wednesday night. They have training.
Oh.
Wednesday nights.
Oh, they should put that all in here.
Well, let's see what we get for a response.
Yeah, so
Quick
leave it
date
as,
to
leave it as
be
TBD,
determined.
6:30 timeframe on that day,
Somewhere.
location TBD for now.
Yeah, location to be
Romano's
determined
basement.
by response.
And then when they
yeah.
RSVP,
emails
we'll
from
write
people
back
that
to the
are
ones that
responding, we can mail it to
RSVP and
them.
tell them.
Yeah. Ask for
5 people
RSVPs
can
by,
come right
say,
here.
middle of April, end of April at the absolute latest. Give us a couple weeks to find a location.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thanks for keeping us on
Alright.
task, Peter.
There we go.
Well, that's,
tired.
You're very
well, let me get back to the.
I is still excused.
All right, I only have one more item on the agenda. Does anybody have anything else on they want to add? I know I kind of asked that already, but, all right. Anybody else have anything they want to say? All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn then.
So moved.
We have a
second.
tie.
Nope, second.
All right. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, same.
I would
All
have
right.
stayed here forever.
Thank you for joining.
Exactly.
Have a good night, everyone.
That was a good meeting.
It's an interactive meeting.